How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Micah Diele, and I'm the host of this podcast, Real Talk and Whatnot. If you're new to this podcast, this is a podcast where I highlight talented individuals who live within the Central Valley of California, as well as people in general who are passionate about what they do. I'm from Merced, California, and so I'm going to do a little plug for myself. If anybody out there needs videography or photography work, brand marketing work, just let me know. I have a group of guys who I do stuff with, and I can show you my portfolio, or you can just go to micahdiele.com and look at it. So once again, you guys, going to remind you about reviews and downloads. Make sure you're downloading every single episode with whatever podcast app you use, as well as leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and are leaving thumbs up. Now, let's just get into today's episode. Today's episode, I am joined by a cousin of mine named Jesse Espinosa. Now, Jesse is a very driven young man. He's 22 years old, and he's on the board of trustees for the Merced City School District. I hope I got that right. But he's a great guy, and I just got to sit down and talk to him about the education system, the things they've been dealing with this year, and what the future has in store with the education system and just his vision for it. We also talked about Merced and just the come up that it seems to be happening all throughout the Central Valley, all throughout the 209, and it was just a really good conversation, and I'm really glad I got to have it. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Jesse Espinosa.
This is it. Real talk. Whatnot.
Real talk. That's what it is. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk.
Jesse, how are we doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Why don't you introduce yourself so that maybe people can find out a little bit more about you?
Yeah, thank you, Micah, for having me on.
Of course, man. I'm glad. So this is I always tell everybody you're my cousin, but you're not you are my cousin.
Yeah,
but...
that's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah, I'm Jesse. I'm Micah's cousin. So my grandpa is your mom's sister. Or I'm sorry, my grandpa is your mom's brother.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're my cousin. I don't know if it's
yeah, exactly. So which is Donnie and Joey, which are your cousin's aunt, that's my mom.
Yeah. My grandpa's sister is your mom.
Yeah, that's crazy. Honestly, I never thought about Richard being your grandpa. I know he is, but in my mind, because he's my Uncle Richard, so I knew he was your grandpa, but...
Right. I don't know, yeah. So, cousin. So, I'm Jesse. I'm your cousin. I just graduated from the UC.
And you went to the JC before that?
Yeah, I went to the JC, so been in Merced my whole life. Probably started at... Pioneer, then moved over to for my preschool, and then I moved over to McSwain for
Mustang Wild and Free, man.
Exactly. And then I went there K through 8, and went to Buhack for high school. Thor, so
that
Thunder. Was cool when those movies came out, and then I was going to Buhack. And,
Oh yeah, see, when I was already gone by that time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, so I even have a little Thor's hammer, and I have it on my little shelf right where I
there we go,
kind of work. Yeah. And then I went to Merced College for 2 years, and then I went to UC Merced, and then I just graduated from there, so I literally did the whole track.
Damn, all in Merced.
Yeah,
dang, everything you could do pretty much.
Right, exactly. And then and then I'll be graduating. I just graduated, and then
what'd you major in?
I majored in political science. And so what that's about is a lot of learning how different government systems affect different people, and ways you can kind of create different systems to help different people. But there are a lot of segments to
that's the best way
science.
I've heard political science described, though. I feel like normally people don't describe it that way, but
it's trying to solve different questions, and that could be just different aspects. That's one question you could ask, right? Is what type of government helps people in the best type of way, or what type of government affects a person in a certain way, and why would it do that? And then there are different variables in that, but that's just one question. You could also ask why do people vote? Why do some people vote, and why do other people not vote? Why do people make that decision to vote? What are the determinants?
Just basically the broad spectrum of how the government's decisions can affect the people.
Well, that would be one question, right? Is so in a democracy they make certain decisions, in an autocracy they make other decisions. So how do those decisions affect other people? And like, why do they make decisions? I don't know. There's just everything involved with government and the political process that encompasses that. How does that?
And I'm sure you guys go back into like ancient governments or like Greek and Rome or stuff like that. Didn't they have actual governments like Greek and Rome? Like,
yeah,
right.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, more sophisticated for their time than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I that's where democracy started. You know? But
I was like, I feel like I'm onto something here, right?
So I do learn about ancient governments, but I would say that would be more like a graduate, or if your specific college had that, I would say the more class, or actually, I mean, there's a lot of classes you could pick. I would say that the classes I picked probably more favored, like even like American politics, and I did take a lot of classes on Chinese politics and like even like African like situation, migration, all that. So it's like, I would say more contemporary times, modern times though, than like ancient times.
Well,
you could definitely study the earlier times.
And so then you graduated from UC Merced, political science.
Yeah.
And then the first thing you did after graduating college, or maybe while you were graduating college, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so your job, but like you ran for...
Right. Oh, yeah. So, while I ran for the board of trustees for Merced City School District, and that was kind of encouraged by the person who sat on the seat before me, Miguel Lopez. And, how that got started was, I had already been involved in some community organization. I had already been involved pretty heavily in the community and doing different community I was involved in the Lions International. I was involved in a lot of different community events in the area. I was involved in different community programs like Leadership Merced. And so that's where I worked with Miguel Lopez. So I got to know him, and then he kind of knew I was running the Leo program and another program called Lift White Lead. So these are like education related programs.
And so you were just helping out with them?
Yeah. So, I mean, really straight out of high school, I just really wanted to be as active as possible. And so, I mean, we could go down the whole path like each individual one, but eventually I was involved with a lot of projects. And so Miguel Lopez, I was actually reaching out to him about grad school because he had gone into Michigan, and that's a really good school. So I asked him for advice on, letters of rec and different ways that he got into the school. And then in the process, he was like, I know how involved you are in school. I think you would in the community, and I saw you work because I worked really closely with him in Leadership Merced. And he was like, I think you would do really good in this position as trustee. And I'm stepping down to move to Michigan for grad school. And so if you wanted to, it would be a whole process.
And how old was this guy?
For it. He's about 20, I would say he's about 28, 29.
Oh, okay. So he's my age. Dang, that's crazy.
Right. Yeah, he's right around there. And he got accepted in Michigan for an MPP as well as an MBA. And so he got a dual policy. So yeah, he kind of encouraged me to run for the board position, and I ran for an election or an appointment process, and there were a couple other contenders, and that was so Miguel's election was he stepped down from his office about 6 months before his term was up. So there was an appointment process prior to an actual election. So the appointment process happened, and there were 4 candidates, and I was not selected of the 4 candidates. However, I put my name in the runnings for the election, and I ran a campaign, and I was selected. I did win the campaign. So that's how I ended up becoming the board trustee for Merced City School District.
So you put so someone else was appointed for those next 6 months while it was vacant, right? And then were you running against how many people? Just one other person?
Yeah, in the election, it was just one other person.
Yeah, and was it the person who was the appointed?
Right.
Oh, okay, which makes sense. Okay, that's cool, though. And then you ran, and then you won, and then I had your sign in my front yard, man. Dude.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of work, but it was also a great experience. I mean,
I bought what else? I bought would you have like a little food drive or whatever?
We had that was our main fundraising method. Yeah, was making was kind of doing food drives and make sure that any supporters show up, because in our view, we didn't want to just ask for money. If we had to raise money, because that's the system we live in, we wanted to make sure that we were giving you something.
Dude, and you gave it, dude. It was a lot of stuff. Like, it was like a full meal, but then also a drink, and then also what dessert do you want? And I was like, oh dang, man, you got it all figured out right here.
Well, yeah, I mean that was the purpose of it. It was just to make sure that it was like an equal transaction and make sure. I mean, but you guys, even then, we're not asking just for money. I mean, it's an investment into our school system. The
money's going to be used for that.
It's been good, on the school board. I feel like even in the 6 months we've been able to make a lot of stuff happen.
And how old are you for people listening?
I'm 22.
You're 22? I thought you were like at least 23.
So a lot to learn.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You've come so far so quickly.
Right. Well.
That's a plan, huh?
Yeah.
So you're running for this now, and then you're about to go to school.
Yeah, so I got accepted into UCLA's MPP program, so Master of Public Policy, and that's to kind of understand, I have 4 years on the board. I want to make sure that those 4 years are spent to the best degree possible, and so it's to understand, kind of, to the extent I do, just understand how policy can be crafted, even from the board seat in an education environment, which education is a great place to make an impact if you want to transform policy. But how do you craft that to the most effective degree possible?
Oh, and that's what that'll help you figure out pretty much. I mean,
there's a
bringing
lot
more
to
knowledge.
Yeah.
And so what does a trustee do for people like me?
So I mean, we have a couple duties, and they can they're broad, but they can be summarized into, our main duty is to hire and moderate the superintendent of the district, and the superintendent had the leader of the district team, and the district team then kind of leads the schools. And the schools, have their own admin team, but the superintendent. Our relationship everyone in the school district kind of works for the superintendent, and the superintendent works for the board. And the board makes sure that we have the superintendent is working in the best interest of the students in the best possible way, and kind of in the meeting, and so then we're also community representatives, so we have to go to schools, and we don't have to, but it's good, and I take as many opportunities as I can to go to schools and you talk to the people at schools, because that's
that's where you're gonna hear from the source. Get the most
knowledge, right?
Even because I feel like, I don't know, this is my personal opinion, I'm just a substitute teacher in high schools, but even I feel like the admin, it's its own thing. The teachers are their own thing. With anything in life, there's divisions and layers of things that different people do different things. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the teachers' problems are completely different than the students' problems, and the students' problems are completely different than the admin's problems. And I'm sure, you're over there trying to guide or give him advice, or what are you supposed to give him, options and opinions? Well,
that's the struggle, right? Is trying to balance
all of
what seems like maybe at times opposing interests at bay. And I think our jobs as board trustees is to find that fine line where everyone's being supported in the best possible way, and the end goal being to support students' education in the best, in the most productive way possible, for them to have opportunities. Because that's, that at the end of the day, that's why I think anyone in the school system does what they do, is so that we can provide students with as many opportunities as they can. So it all comes down to that at the end. But in the process, you have to support everyone throughout that. It may seem like maybe teachers' interest and the students' interest.
Yeah.
But teachers being supported, make sure that students are supported in the best possible way. So, it's the careful balance between balancing everyone with the end goal being make sure the student is lifted up in the best possible way we could for that. So, but definitely we have unions and we have different competing interests that like kind of all like, try to have, opinion about whatever's going on, or try to share their perspective on it. So
dang. And then so while you're there, what are your goals? Like, what are your specific goals you have for your while you're in office?
Goals, like I have a lot of goals. Like I there's a lot of stuff I would like to do, but like I said, the primary goal is to make sure our students are set up for success. And I would say, looking at our district.
And so I want to stop real quick. So because you were raised in the school district, right? And so, firsthand with whatever. It could be better, by now and everything, but like you kind of know firsthand. I'm saying, because I feel like you're way more not hands-on, but like you're the time that maybe somebody else who went to public school, and if they're either on the board or in a different part of government, it could have been like 30 years ago versus you went to school, you were in the education system like 8 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like you're going to have like hands-on knowledge of like really.
I'm still in the education system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not in necessarily like K through 8.
Yeah. But I'm saying you've been raised within this education system.
Right. Yeah, and so it does help in having that understanding of like how students are interacting, and like there's different barriers to success. And I also think generations play a role in the fact that yes, I have different experiences and I can directly relate to, for example, I'm the only one on the board who has experience with the computer being the new classroom.
Yeah.
I was learning through that even pre-COVID.
Oh, no. Yeah.
At BUHAC, we had totally encompassed.
And what's crazy to me is that like basically our generations are different in the sense of like I'm 28, you're 22. That's a 6-year gap, right? But I didn't we had computers in the classrooms, but we had almost every single assignment was in our backpack with writing. We used our lockers. What I noticed now while high school, when I substitute high schools, no, I've never seen a locker open once.
No, I never used my locker.
Yeah, but no one, the crazy thing is I've never seen one open, at any campus. Maybe they just don't use them anymore, but
Right. Well,
you don't really need to. You only have your computer.
Computers.
No books. That's crazy too. No books. That's why we used to have lockers with books.
Right.
But you had books in high school.
Well, you could leave the books at home, and usually teachers have at least screenshots of the book they can share, or you can look at it, or the books online, like a lot of books are.
Yeah.
So a lot of different options just to limit it. But you're right, computers, and you know what's happened? I feel like it happened like almost quick, like that.
Dude, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm feeling, because when I went to high school, we had computers in the classrooms, but we went to computer labs and stuff. It was like, we're going to go for the whole period and go to the computer lab, you guys.
Right.
It was and that's back when I was went to BUHAC when they had block schedule. So we literally had an hour and a half for hour and 45 minutes for every class. It was wild. We had 4 classes.
Oh, block schedule?
Yeah. So we had 1, 2, and 3, and then the 4th was generally your. It's not bad though.
Yeah. No,
it's a semester system.
But even through college, I feel like there was a big difference between the 50-minute classes and then the hour and a half. Just personally, I felt like going to the 50-minute class three times a week was better than an hour and a half. Though I did having Tuesday, Thursday class, but it's just the amount of time I feel
or you ever get a 1-day-a-week class, like a Monday night class?
Oh yeah, those I feel like those are cool, but I don't know, maybe it's me, but
every now and then you get a teacher and you're like, I'm at least as this teacher. I feel like those teachers are even I got to get through this too, you guys. You know what I mean? Right. And so they're a little more loose with you then. Because I took in some business classes at night, and they were 3-hour night classes. And I took it with this British teacher.
Yeah, I think I took a
business. And then there was this other dude. I can't remember his name, but he was one of my favorite teachers. I'll have to find his name. But he was an accounting teacher. And he reminded me of Daniel Tosh. He was hella funny.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't even know where we're getting on this. It was just basically... I think we're just getting to we were raised in the school system and then start
Yeah,
talking about the
changed.
school system. Yeah, but and then how has it changed compared to, not changed, but like, so your perspective is more fresh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say it definitely affects it in terms of understanding that. But there's also the aspect that it's like I feel like sometimes when you get ingrained in the system, like that's all you see. And so it's like, this is the way it should be done, or the way we've always done it, or whatever. And then so trying to push new ideas is sometimes a little.
Well, now you have to do new ideas because, I mean, the way you've always done it is completely gone with technology.
True. I mean, with the pandemic, like I feel like things have changed, and so with some of the things we've learned have worked better in this other way, and so coming back, it would be smart of us to retain those things that work better and then shift back, because then if you take up the total sum of what's working, obviously we had to have improved because we retained what we did, and then what didn't work better, we come back. That being said, it's kind of hard, like, because like some students did do better in distance learning or other ways. Not every student, obviously, and there's some students.
Yeah, dude. And let me tell you, even as a sub, like so I got into a situation, and I was supposed to be like a substitute or an in-class substitute for somebody, but then the teacher like left, and they're like, but I got an email from them one day, and it was just like, this is your class now. Do what you want with it. I was like, what? Like I got hired to be a substitute.
Right.
But anyways, I was like
Right.
that teacher so I was her teacher for like a month until like a new teacher came in, right? But it was just like, I felt like this school year in general, like I've never felt more bad for the students, and I don't.
So you had to go like every day?
Yeah, so I went every day for that. Yeah, so I mean, from I went every day from November to December, and then now I go with like 3 times a week still. But it just like, I felt so bad for the students this year, like in the sense of even when they came to school, it felt weird. It felt so
different.
weird. Like, and like I knew firsthand, because like normally, like it got to a point where like normally when you're a substitute, you have to deal with more stuff. But when you only have 5 kids in the classroom or 10 kids in the classroom, kids are a lot more chill because they're a lot more respectful. And it was just kind of like somber, like the feeling that I was just like,
right.
And like when the kids came back and I was their teacher, they were just all frustrated, and you could tell that they were frustrated because they're just like the teachers, like, it was just a tough situation to be in no matter who you were. And I mean, I'm sure for you, even your job is like, how do you complete this impossible task almost, in the sense of no one knows, it's never been done before.
Yeah, well, the hard part is really, it's not even over, because now, I mean, we just survived the madness. Now the hard part is coming back from that and come back even stronger than that. And so, I mean, I think we have a good strategy for it, and a lot of plans in action. Like, like just for example, like we coming back from the pandemic, recognizing that, like if students are suffering any type of mental challenges, or just like mental health challenges, addressing those will come before they can engage with the academic material. So we actually did a big overhaul, and we had 9 counselors for 18 of our school sites, and we actually hired 9 more. And so we literally,
I was gonna say though, that makes sense though, because I feel like you need more counselors. And
exactly, yeah.
Well, it's also crazy how many people are trying to be counselors. That's a little separate note. But like, I heard that there was like those 9 positions. I heard there was like a stupid amount of candidates. Not stupid, but you know what I mean? Like, like hundreds of, I want to say like 500 or something ridiculous. I'm like, that's crazy to me.
Right, it's a higher paying job.
Yeah. But it's cool because that job is literally to help. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, or that should be your job, if you know what I mean. If you're going in there.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a big challenge, and yeah, they will help a lot, and yeah, even if they now have like can now cover an entire school instead of half a school or like half the days, their workload's still going to be a lot.
Yeah.
And still like super important. But I feel like that's a valuable investment, because again, the students back on track, like that, then we can push forward, and all of the other things we're doing, that then they'll actually matter versus like before we even.
Because if you have a healthy mindset, everything else will come. And I think that this is a good shift. I feel like the community in general in Merced, like, it's weird. The pandemic happened, and I feel like since we've been coming out of it, I feel like there's a brighter future, like on all ends. And I don't even I think the school system, I think the town in general, honestly, because a lot was like stagnant in Merced for like a long time, and then like I just feel like there's like a transformation happening right now.
Yeah, no, it's big true. And Merced has been on a long, I think a fairly good trajectory of growth, even pre-COVID. And I feel like COVID did kind of pause a lot of it. But like even then, you still saw progress. There's progress. But and stuff opened, stuff happened.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that there's like 6 new restaurants opening on downtown Merced.
Right.
Like there's a lot going on, and that's like, I'm just so happy. Like I'm so happy because like for so long, like it was just like there's only like the 4 things to do or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like the same thing. And now it's like I go downtown, I'm like I don't even like recognize this place. Like
right. Well, you see the diagonal streets.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, exactly. I like that. Main Street all one way.
Right. I like it too.
It makes it feel like it's like, oh, we're going downtown. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And there was only like one side of traffic to even worry about. And so like
a lot of parking.
Right. Yeah. And so like even like I feel like even crossing the street, I only had to like worry about one way. It felt more walkable.
Yeah.
As opposed to kind of like a cramped area or whatever.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
So that is my shout out to Matthew Serrato. That his idea was great.
Thank you, Matthew Serrato. Yeah. Oh, that was his idea.
Yeah. Well, it was the city council that approved that. It's like
I like it. Project. I heard about it and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And then when I went downtown, I was like, this is pretty good. I like this. Like I don't know why I like it, but it makes it feel like more full. Like we're big. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Like like we're not short on space. Like we're not trying to fit it in. And I guess it's something that I guess we used to do in the past, and then it kind of went away. But I mean, if it worked better the old way, I kind of like it. So I think it works a lot better now.
No, yeah, it is.
But yeah, in Merced, I mean, in general, has a lot of things going for it. I think that's one reason why our education system is also going to improve, just because, like, for example, we have the UC. That's, in my opinion, that's why I think a lot of the growth is happening. Like, UC Merced,
oh, yeah, for sure.
has like 10,000 students that, like college students with like, but that's also a growing student base that UC Merced has plans to grow to like 25,000 students.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And that's the thing, too, where it's like, since I've been born and raised in Merced, I've seen like the UCB like probably like a couple thousand students like the first couple years of it, and like it 10, being 000. Tiny, and then like me going out there. I used to go out there when I went to the JC because my buddy Duffy, who heads the podcast, once again shout out Duffy. But we used to go study in the library over there. But like even from when I went there when I was in college to like I went like drive by now, I'm like, man, this place is getting huge, and it's only going to get bigger, and they're only going to be putting more into the city. More and obviously, stuff. We want people to come to Merced. Like I feel like if you would have come to Merced 2 years ago, it'd be completely experienced if you come to Merced now.
Right.
Like if you go stay at the El Capitan and then you go downtown, you'd be like,
it's nice,
dude. El Capitan's sick.
They did a great job.
El Capitan, shout you guys out once again.
Right, and I mean, and they did great, and I mean,
Tioga
and the whole downtown. You're right. If you'd walking down Main Street 2 years ago, it would have been
completely different.
And I think it'll be completely different. Can you imagine in like 10 years?
Oh, exactly. That's why I'm excited too, because it's just you grow up and people are, you probably heard it all the time, but people always like, oh, Merced, like, oh, there's nothing to do. I can't wait to get out of here. Oh, you're gonna stay here. Just like the typical things you would hear in high school. I feel like
change the atmosphere.
But it's like, honestly, if those people moved away, that's good in the sense of I feel like most people who are in Merced, they want to see it grow, or anywhere in the Central Valley, honestly.
No, and I mean, they do want to see it grow, and I think that's the general, like, even, I would say that was one of the biggest vibes I got from when I started working in, like on grassroots efforts and community volunteer events, and it's just this strong urge to make Merced as good as it possibly can be, and there's a lot of people working towards that goal. And so I think with the few key opportunities that we have gotten, and what opportunities those are bringing in and of itself, Merced has a huge shot for growth, and there's almost no way for it not to grow with rising populations. And then we got to figure out where to build, but we'll figure that
and figure out how to build more houses. I don't understand how we don't like the real estate market and the housing market's so hot right now. It's like, and like houses that were selling for like 200,000 are selling for like 250, 275,000 now.
I know.
That's why it's just wild to me.
I don't know too much about the housing market, but
I know I need to get some real estate agents on.
About it, you know?
I do some photography and videography for real estate agents. So like I just hear their lingo. They're like, "Oh, it's an escrow." I'm like, yeah, it's an escrow,
like,
man.
That's good, right?
Yeah. And I wonder how much. Like I have no idea how real estate works, and I know you don't either. But like I wonder, like obviously, like they're making a commission off of whatever the sell is. But like, I'm like, how much is the? I don't know how much.
They making?
Yeah.
Am I in the wrong business?
Let me tell you, government, you picked a tricky one, but I think you'll succeed in it.
Yeah.
And then, what are your like? What's your vision? I mean, you've been talking about your vision for education. But I mean, where do you see education going?
Well, vision for education. I mean, there's so much more. I mean, I just
go on.
Even just saying like we want to improve. I will try to be concise, but you know, this is some like I just feel so strongly, and I know I feel like I'm involved with so much. It takes me a while to maybe sometimes, but so I'll be concise. And then that like. Merced's education system is one that has so many people working so hard, and we have so many great teachers, and we have so many talented people who want to do it. I think we're fighting battles that are kind of uphill, but aren't unconquerable, and we need key shifts in doing that. One key shift that we're already doing, like I told you, we're already supporting the mental health. One thing is like, to stress before is like, we need an inclusive support that supports students from pre-K all the way into the UC, because we have a comprehensive system. But like, say for example, I don't talk to the chancellors at UC Merced naturally. Like there's no scheduled time on my thing, or to do it with the CC or to do it with the high school. So we're all working on one system, but we all work independently, and so we're all like incorporating. So say for example, how does that affect? Yeah, I don't know for sure this, but in my view, if you Merced City prior had a really emphasis on language, and then and maybe not so much on math in the language they used. And if you want more teachers in the air or doctors in the air, which is something that our area really needs, then if you're not teaching math properly, or you can't get as much math proficiency as you need, that's a big deterrent to those students passing in college in high advanced math courses. So maybe they don't even go down the doctor track. And if you don't produce them here, it's hard to attract them anyways. And so, I mean, are you saying, so now you and the people at the UC are communicating a little more, basically, right? Yeah. So, I mean, so I would love to see it as much as possible. The way we are doing it right now is we're doing a tutoring system where we're going to be working with different levels of the schooling system to offer a tutoring program, and the details are still in the work, but the way it's going to work out eventually is to support the students in just ways, but utilize because you got to think, we are 1 in 10 California cities who have a university of California. That's crazy. That's a pool of 10,000 students who are willing to look for experience and want to teach and are smart and talented. Like that is one. If you think of how Merced is going to improve the education system, that has to be a tool in the toolbox, because that's a gigantic. It's going to be 25,000 students who would work for either nothing or very little. But work for nothing for experience. And that's a huge pool of people that you can get working with students, and that would be huge. But so trying to so we are working with other we're working with the universities, we're working with the high school districts, we're working with MCOE to develop this type of program, just to support and use the available resources we have here, because in one way we do have the resources, but we need to be able to use them more effectively, and so that's what we're doing in a way. So that's cool, because I felt like for a long time there was this like weird separation between UC Merced and Merced the population, like for a long time, honestly. Right. And granted, when it's a smaller school, I understand it. Still is. Yeah, no. In a way, but it's more involved than it ever has been in the past, and I think it's only going to start becoming like Merced is only so big. Well, you're going to have to come together at some point. You know what I mean? Right. But like even like what you were saying there, that makes me happy that at least like even at your level, you're like, hey, if we work with them, you know what I mean? Yeah, like it's only going to be better for us. My job is was at the community engagement center at the UC. UC before, and that was one of our main priorities: is how are we going to engage the community of Merced in a way that makes them everyone be proud of our UC.
Yeah, exactly.
And be like, this is ours, and one thing that came up in our discussions a lot is like they have to see the effects, the positive sides of the UC, because one side is like you do see maybe rising housing costs, and that could be attributed to it, or it's just the market in general because it's happening everywhere. But the UC, the benefits of that is like it could have on our education system. The benefits is it is bringing new businesses here, and it is bringing new industries here, and it is bringing excitement and investment here. And so those are benefits, but it's hard to see those, And so the UC has to do a good job of like facilitating the resources that we can see. So we did a lot of connections and events to try to show UC students out there doing helping the community, because that the UC is a tool and a resource, and so we just need to be better at utilizing it. I think
that's a great point of view for like thinking the UC is, like you're saying, we're one of 10 cities in all of California,
right?
And of all cities, who would have thought Merced? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we're unique,
didn't I believe it was between Merced and a couple other cities, and like one of the cities turned it down. That was like they wanted it. I don't remember what city it was, but it just.
Well, I think Fresno was in like some type of competition for it in a way, but I think I heard that the way it happened is like, but we had the land donated by I think it's Virginia Smith, and it's Virginia Smith grant, and so it was probably way more complex than that.
But I mean, hey, that's a great summary of it.
Right.
I agree.
And so we got the land, and I think even though.
But you remember the shrimp ferries? You remember when it was like
issue.
It was like we can't build because the shrimp ferries, and everyone's like they're microscopic animals. It doesn't matter. I just remember I remember this debate going on when I was like growing up. I was like, what is going on?
I mean. I don't even know. I feel like it's like it's tragic for these animals. Like we got to build the CC, but like, man, how can we protect?
Also, are you guys sure shrimp fairy is a real animal?
Yeah,
like, are they not?
I've never seen one.
I never heard of one until this lawsuit.
I was in the forest the other day.
There was no shrimp fairies. Well, also, who names the animal shrimp fairy?
I don't know. Maybe someone.
Maybe somebody, but somebody did. That's fucking. I don't know.
I do want to discover something so I can name it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. One time I found me and Lindsay were in San Francisco, Land's End area, which is like there's like a whole bunch of hiking trails by the beach. But we found this it was like this weird thing, and it looked like an alien thing. I'm pretty positive it was fake, but it literally looked like an alien plant in the middle of the forest. And I was just like, I know.
It was probably like a mushroom.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just some type of mushroom. But you see the Pentagon release some alien files?
Yeah, I mean, I have seen stuff.
I mean, have you? I've only seen like basically like one video that's gone around about it.
I saw. I think it was recent, maybe last night, that I saw past President Obama said stuff about that. I think somebody asked him if he had seen anything in office, and or had been told anything, and he was like. Well, I did ask, but they did some research and but we have seen stuff flying that we can't see and we can't explain. So I mean, he said it. He said that we've seen stuff that.
But I wonder, but I just feel like apparently this has been going on. It must be going on forever. That's what I feel like. Or our technology is getting better, so we're being able to read them. I don't even know how to take it or what will anything ever come of it? Do you believe in aliens? Personally, I'm sorry.
I mean,
logistically, the chances.
I would not be shocked. If people came out and was like, aliens are real. Like they've actually. I wouldn't even be shocked if they're like they've been here, they've been doing stuff. And like I don't know. I do see like. Have you ever heard of like the Fermi paradox?
Yeah.
Like just there's so much life and so much. It'd be so much probability that there would.
Yeah. Especially if we exist. If we exist, unless we're the anomaly.
Right, well, because like the universe is like
infinite.
Well, it's like 11 billion years old or something. So like we took like I think our Earth or something. I have no idea. I'm trying to remember,
it's like
5 billion years ago. So like all that time could have been somebody else developing and working or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. There could be for sure other stuff.
Oh, right. And then I think if you take the scale of the Earth's history and then put it into a day that humans like appeared like a minute ago and only developed like
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
like it was industry like 2 seconds
if you do
ago.
if you've done the sun's lifetime in 24 hours or something like that,
Yeah,
it's like
something
we've
like that.
only been we've only been here for like
Couple seconds.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
just doing like
and it's crazy because like we're the only species that we know of that's like this intelligent or like we ask the why, which I feel like no other animal asks a why.
why.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
And
I
that's
think
like an interesting way to look at it, like because nothing else really does. But then we also know that like whales and I don't know what other dolphins and stuff like that, like they're really smart. You know, they have like parts of the brain that we don't have. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting to like, I don't know, because who knows?
It's true. I mean, yeah, and animals are just way different than us, and I don't know.
I don't know either.
But
Okay, so we're talking about Shrimp Fairy from the UC. I don't remember what we were talking about before that.
you see, just I think just the trajectory of Merced and how it's growing. I think you see Merced as one toolkit in that to make sure that our education system grows, and our education system is super key for making sure that it's like the roots of the system. And if you're not producing at the roots, the whole system can't support as well. Like, because if we bring new jobs here and that are really advanced or maybe Bitwise.
Okay. So what is Bitwise? I just know it's a tech company, right? That's all I know.
I'm not the expert, but on that one,
it's going downtown too.
But I heard about it, and so I see it's like a tech company, opening up, and
it's like right across the street from Tioga, I think.
Yeah, well, I want our students to fill those jobs or to get in.
Yeah, dude, that's cool. That's true. It's like you don't want to keep on outreaching to other places. You want to hire people within your own community. You want to help grow it with the people. I mean, obviously, you want to bring people in as well, but the goal should also be to help. Yeah.
Yeah, like you want to foster your people the best they can, and then also bring in the best talent when that is truly in the best interest of everyone. Because you do want, the United States takes in so much brain talent from
everywhere. That's how we got the atomic bomb. What is it, Oppenheimer or something like that?
I think Oppenheimer made the bomb.
Oppenheimer.
Einstein developed the knowledge behind it.
Some of that, whatever. They both did it, but
right.
Oppenheimer gets the credit, which the destroyer of worlds. But isn't that crazy? Like
that quote, we used to use that in debate. Oh, you're gonna do this to develop nuclear war. This is what the creator of nuclear war said about it.
This destroyer of worlds. Yeah, and it's a hard thing to. I'm guessing that's a hard thing to argue for, right?
All right,
arguing for. I mean, nuclear. Not arguing for nuclear war,
usually,
but
to be honest, usually you have to get to like an impact on the paper that everyone think is bad. Like everyone's gonna agree. So you have to get to usually death or dehumanization. And so usually we just go to the biggest one, nuclear warfare. So usually it's used as an offense thing. But I mean, you could use the defense like mutually assured destruction. Actually everyone have nukes prevents anyone from using nukes.
I guess that is a good argument.
The only time it was ever used was when
only one country had it. And it was us, baby.
All right. But I mean, we are. Yeah. But we're lowering the number of them.
Yeah, which we need to. And I think nuclear, can't they change or can't they use or nuclear power? Everyone is put off from it because of nuclear bombs. But nuclear power is honestly, it's a better way to deal with energy.
I hear that what I hear is that if people are against renewable or are for renewable energy, but against nuclear power, there's no way to make that collaborative because that has to be a huge part of the equation. Because it's just how much it produces relative to the other ones.
That's what I've heard.
I mean, I would be all for. I think eventually we have to be renewable. So if that's the case, from what I hear, I'd be all for nuclear.
Yeah, exactly.
Power. And I hear that there's a lot of advancements in them. There's generations in the reactors. And,
I know exactly.
The new one, then the new
because
generation.
I think they used to in Chernobyl and stuff like that. They couldn't turn it off. You know what I mean? They didn't have an off switch.
Happened,
so it's just. Also, someone's gonna be listening to this and be like, "You guys have no idea what you're talking about nuclear bombs."
I'll be like, "No. There's a molten power reactor."
Yeah, exactly. And the reactor fucks with I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. But
I saw a YouTube video.
Exactly. But Bitwise is coming to Merced.
Isn't that every podcast?
Yeah, exactly. They just get off these tangents. And I think that I always tell people, or like generally the difference between my podcast and other people's podcasts, maybe who try to start one in the area, not like I'm talking crap or anything, but it's just, you have to have a subject. So my subject is like highlighting talented individuals who live within the Central Valley, as well as people who are passionate about what they do, you know what I mean? And that's like kind of like, it's just like you're going to learn about something every single time you listen to it, whatever it may be. I mean, we got a little off track on shrimp fairies, aliens, and nuclear bombs here. But what I'm saying is other people's podcasts is literally just them and their friends hanging out, talking crap, laughing at inside jokes. And it's a very hard market, that one is, versus this one where it's like, I'm talking about, like, I just want to talk to people about Merced. And that's generally what I've been talking about.
Right.
Is just people in Merced.
And I mean, that's key to also like, because if nobody knows all the good things that are happening in Merced and all the great things, like that is key to making sure that people are informed, is key to creating the good public image that Merced needs. And I mean, image is a lot of stuff. You want to attract good people here. Like our education system is involved in that, because like people want to send their kids to good schools.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like, I mean, just making sure that Merced is thought of in a good light is also key to our success. You know, like, I mean, in a lot of ways, like, you know, the town's kind of like yourself. Like, you have to believe in yourself. Like, a town has to believe in itself for it to kind of like grow and be successful and stuff. And that materializes in investment and belief in the company.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of ties in with like what we were talking about earlier when, like, you know, went to school here. Some kids are always like, oh, Merced. You know what I mean? Like, looking at it like, oh, I got to get out of here.
Right.
Now, I think it's turning to the point where it's like, you know, if you grew up in Merced and you stay in Merced, it's maybe not. I mean, there's things to do here. We have a lot of stuff happening. Like we're talking about, I don't know if we mentioned it or if this podcast cut off, but we're talking about going down Main Street,
right? And
how it's all one way now and everything. But just like the developments downtown with the Mainzer, El Capitan, Bitwise, I don't know what else is downtown. Tioga, yeah, just all those places. I just feel like when you go down there, it's completely different, and it's turning into like almost like a cute town in the sense of like if you go to Mariposa, or you know, you could think of like the towns that you're like, oh, they had a nice downtown. Right.
Well, the downtown is the heart of the city or whatever. How you see the life of the city.
Yeah.
Like, if you see a healthy downtown traffic, that's a healthy town or whatever. Versus like if there's not very many people, so that's why there's a lot of emphasis on downtown to make sure that, you know, that's a lot of place you can gather around. A lot of morale.
And the UC even is built. They have, you know, multiple locations downtown.
Oh, I know.
They?
Yeah, we have the UC headquarters right down there.
That's
cool.
Right
connected. And it's cool. Have you ever been inside?
Oh, I've never been inside.
Oh, it's cool. I mean, it's all high tech to the UC standards in terms of like energy efficiency. There's like the walls they're not. It's not AC at all. The walls have water running through them that is cold, so that keeps it or warm, I guess, maybe.
But that's how their AC is. It's not with like a big fan or whatever, like normal places. It's run. Dang, really?
That's when I guess it's more efficient.
Yeah, probably. I mean, who knows? That seems like a pretty hard to build. But
right.
Thank you, UC.
I know. Well, yeah. I mean, the UC gets a lot of awards for their like energy efficiency, and that's like a big priority for them.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
we're changing that in Merced City too.
Really?
Yeah, doing a lot of stuff. Like, I would say, like, you know, on the topic of like differences between generations, I would say like that's one priority that, you know, I've really brought to the point, and like it really wasn't talked about. Like, we got a proposal for learning material for students and like books and stuff, but it was going to come in a backpack, and the backpack was plastic. We're going to get one for every student. So if you figure that's 11,000 thick plastic backpacks, and
that are most likely going to get thrown away pretty soon.
You're right. Well, that's I mean, so
yeah,
that's what I kind of made mention of that when we kind of talked about it. But so we made ways to ensure we put golden tickets in and whatnot. We did different incentives to kind of bring people excitement to it. But on the backpacks themselves, like we were like, I was like, you know, I'm kind of concerned about the ecological impact of this. Like, we're producing 11,000. Like, we have a huge budget in terms of like Merced and doing things, and so the money we use, like, we have an outsized impact to make sure that we're being as ecological sustainable as possible. And it's like it's a huge burden on us. So we are taking steps, and that's kind of we've been more cognizant of.
But I'm sure like Merced has got to be so much more difficult to do it here compared to other places, in the sense of like we're like agriculture, and like it's not that agriculture
That's
people
another one
don't
of our
want to be
strengths.
like conservative with like or with renewable energy and stuff. It's just that they have
Right.
needs they have to fulfill for their
Right.
crops, for their thing, for whatever they're doing. And like although I mean they're almost not they're counterintuitive, but it's just like we need more water, we're running out of water, whatever it may be. But
Well, in my view, we kind of have the best of both worlds there because we have like the UC and we also have a huge urban area and so or a rural area. And so it's like we kind of, but that's also how like America's spread out. We have a large urban industrialized or urban areas, and then we have like a lot of rural areas. And so somehow you have to create a solution for both of them. So I think like Merced's like a perfect way to like try to find that balance because we're developing and finding new investment, but we're also like while growing out, we have to protect our rural areas and our agriculture because that's one of our strengths. And
that's literally like where our income and what we're known for.
Right. And a lot of our students.
What is it?
go
Aren't we
into
like
that
50% of the food for like the world or something
industry.
ridiculous?
Joey. Yeah. What
Yeah,
happened?
Joey. Joey Rogers. Shout you out.
What
No,
happened?
don't we like produce like 50% of the food for the world? I'm pretty sure it's something ridiculous fact like that in the Central Valley.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something like that. Or like, I always hear different stats about that. Like we produce like this much of this much of this.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's like 70% of like America's food,
Or it's like
which is
huge.
wild.
Right.
That's freaking wild. And like growing up here, you always notice like obviously there's farms everywhere, like, but it's like I don't know. It still doesn't register that we have that many because like you go to like I've never been to Kansas or like
Right, you
all
think
the
they have
places. They always have cornfields, but I also heard like they don't even like they don't have irrigation there in the sense like in some places they don't like because they don't have like the water resources where we have the mountains everywhere. Kansas, you're not gonna have the mountains. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. I mean, I've never really thought about like what makes our agricultural region that much different.
Well, so we're surrounded by mountains, and what I believe it is that because we're surrounded by mountains, we get all that snow melt, and that snow is on the Sierra Nevada mountain range or wherever else goes up, California. It melts this way, and then we get it in the Central Valley, and then it still goes on to, places past us to basically to the ocean. There's places that like water runs from, the snow to the ocean.
Right.
But we're in the middle of that, so we got to capture all that water. But I've also seen pictures of like we keep on digging down for land, basically. You know what I mean? So like the topsoil gets bad, you dig underneath it, right?
Right.
There's a
look for more
sign
water.
or a picture that I've seen, and it's this dude standing next to basically what a telephone pole is, and it's like the soil level in like the 1920s is up here. The soil level in the 50s is right here, and then the picture was taken in the 1970s, but it was like almost 100-foot difference of how much they've dug, and so we're digging ourselves into like a valley.
Yeah, I think it's like water. I think like you're draining the water from the ground, so it shrinks.
And you need to go closer to where the water is going to be coming. Can be more or stay up there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. Like, the earth is literally like a sponge and like you like draining water. Like, that's crazy that we can, with that, even on like a small scale like this, we can draw enough like groundwater out of the ground.
Yeah,
to,
exactly.
Like, change.
Wells. And what I believe is going on though is like also people who are listening to this, I'm sorry if this is not right, but I think that people who are like, there's like a lot of wells are growing dry right now. And then there's like a giant list for you to dig a well, but you're like have to wait because they can only dig so many wells because obviously each well is affecting the water table and making the water table
I definitely
younger,
I would see
lower
that.
and lower.
Because in my time on Leadership Merced, like that was a huge discussion, like surface water, like groundwater. Like we have a lot of like surface water, like coming off the mountains, but we also have groundwater. And I guess like our groundwater usage is up past like the recharge rate, so we're draining away from it, and so we're having to rely. So we can't rely so much on groundwater. And then like I guess it's like issue with like the state taking more of our surface water for like north or south.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
what's a crazy fact is part of Yosemite called Hetch Hetchy. It's like there's this dam there, and all that water goes straight to San Francisco. That's San Francisco's drinking water. And that's just like a weird thing. Like that water is reserved for San Francisco.
Yeah,
that's so wild. To
They
me.
say like what is it, like water in California is way more like dangerous than like whiskey or something, or
Really?
there's some quote like that. I'm misquoting something about how like water's fought over in California.
Oh no!
More intense.
Oh no, it for sure is. And I mean, like the agriculture. Okay, I'm just making. It is San Francisco. San Francisco gets all its water from Hetch Hetchy, which by the time it gets there, it tastes like complete shit. You know what I'm talking about? It's like when you go to like a big city and have their water, I'm like, oh my god, I can't even drink tap water. Where it's like if you live on
pipes.
yeah, if you have like a well out here, even like our city water. I'm not. It's not that I drink the city water,
Right.
But
Right.
it's not like ridiculous to drink it versus like.
Yeah, I mean, I put it in a purifier.
Yeah, exactly.
good enough for
yeah,
me.
yeah, exactly.
Though I hear most of those don't even work. You gotta like look into like I guess like Brita, like it just like filters.
But it tastes better though. You know what I mean?
That's what it's for. It's for taste. It's for taste.
Oh, but it doesn't really strain out.
That's what I was told, and so
I'm
I
sure-
sure.
yeah.
Special one. I might have just been paying more. For
Yeah,
it.
I just know. I'm like, at least the fridge. The fridge water. I'm like,
Oh, yeah, I know,
I'm
that's
like, at
great.
least that. I mean, I'm sure that you have to change that filter, but
True. Actually, who? Yeah, is that a?
yeah, I mean,
I
people
thought about
definitely do change it. Because I think my fiance's mom. I remember their water filter was going off in their fridge forever, but it's like one of those things where it's like, whatever, like.
Change it, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever changed the kitchen fridge one. Like,
No, yeah, exactly. I don't think I have ever.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
They're better ones.
Yeah. There are. And now, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm glad I got you on though, because I don't know. I felt like I kept on telling people like, I'll get my cousin on. I'm gonna get my cousin on, and then it's like they're like, oh, he's your cousin. I just say, yeah, oh yeah, he's my cousin. Like that's how I explain it. But I honestly thought you were like 25. I was like, oh, he's like 25. You're only 22 years old. And so what drives you to like want to run for? I mean, you kind of talked about it, but like you're 22 and you're a trustee right now, right? So let's say long term, like what are your goals? Like, do you have goals of like government?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm getting my degree in Master of Public Policy. So like what that opens me up to is holding positions like the Board of Trustees and continuing to work on education, because like really that's where I want to work on. I want to work on making sure that the education system in Merced and really like, the greater San Joaquin Valley and like, just, how making sure that the education system is providing as many opportunities for students as possible. But there's also different ways to do that in terms of, being involved with nonprofits and maybe being a policy analyst for them, helping them interpret the data they're looking at to make better decisions, or maybe working through a government entity who's kind of doing a similar aspect and work for them in that aspect, and just making sure that working in some realm, because policy is all about the rules and the systems that we live in, making sure that those are in the best condition they can to provide as many opportunities for students as possible. And so in whatever capacity like kind of that I kind of end up in, that's kind of where I'll chase. Or
Yeah. Oh,
but
gotcha.
in
Yeah.
education, I mean, just
So you
making sure that
you like the education, focusing on that.
I mean,
though.
that's where students. That's where if you're going to look in education, you have the philosophy like early education is super key, because if you don't have a student learning early, it's really hard to change their course
and
Think
catch
about
up
it
and
in
everything.
Society,
Yeah.
like if you want to improve society, isn't the same true? Like you have to start at the education.
Yeah.
Because if your education's not right, then you can't fulfill the other programs as well as you could. So I think if I really want to have an impact on the world in general, like education's where you do it, at least for me, because I feel like that's a really critical place to have like just the best system you can.
Yeah, and that's why like going abroad to other places, you kind of get to see everyone's education system and kind of just get like that real world experience of what's kind of how are they doing
Other
it, and
places,
what's their approach
challenges
to it,
your assumptions,
and even just your whole culture in general, or you know what I mean. It puts
Right,
you
everything.
It throws you into a whole world. It feels like you're in a new world, but you're in the same world, but it's just other people's lives in another
Right.
part of land that's a far away from you.
Well, kind of like the generation thing. Kind of if you've only seen it one way, you're only gonna imagine things that way. Well, other countries, other places do things a lot differently, and so some of those ways can really open your mind. You're like, wow, I've never thought about just doing that or implementing that. So
Yeah,
it can
exactly.
really
Well,
improve.
just like how other places teach English at like a
Right.
very young age. It's just like if we should teach Spanish at a very young age, or like whatever.
We're talking about that.
require some type of a watch out your foot real quick. You're good. Some type of a just obviously Spanish would be more useful in
Right.
California.
Well, we're talking about we kind of have pushed from the board level into the district to talk about taking steps to look into dual immersion programs.
Oh,
which
really?
I'm not completely up on them. Did quite a bit of research, a couple months ago, but in the relative terms, what it is you're learning both languages throughout your academic experience.
Yeah.
So you kind of like they strengthen and balance each other, and you can kind of expand that way. But learning two languages, I mean, in today's economic market, makes you way more attractive,
yeah,
way more marketable. And so it's a super strength, and if we're trying to, maximize the opportunities for our students, that's a key pillar. That's one of the key things you gotta do, or could do that really give your kids.
And I feel like it just helps learning overall. I mean, maybe I'm just
true.
You know what I mean? Like you're using. I feel like you're like using both parts of your brain. Maybe
different languages. Yeah. Like I don't speak another language, but like in talking with like Gustavo, like my friend who like does speak two languages, he says that when he has different emotions and different kind of responses and trains of thinking when he uses his other language versus when he uses English. Like because they have different words, and different connotations.
No, exactly. Yeah, my friend Harold. I mean, he's his family's Filipino, but they speak in Tagalog a lot, and like it's just like their whole. Like how they were raised is completely different than, or it feels like it's like you're saying, like different emotions, different. I don't know. It's just like we can't even relate to it though. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
understand it. Yeah. So, I mean, it would be really cool, and I think it'd be a good asset, for our students to have that, and just
for sure, or at least have the option for it.
Talk to twice as many people.
Well, no, exactly. And like we're saying, it's just gonna help the whole education process in general,
right?
Like
there probably is some science of learning stuff with that.
Oh no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I know that like other people from other countries seem to have like it's like it's not uncommon to speak 3 languages.
Right.
Where here it's like, oh, you speak English and another language. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I mean, some people speak Spanish, but
right. Or there's people who speak like 7 languages.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, those people, yeah. And that's why I'm like, I feel like once you're learning 1 or 2 or 3 languages when you're young, it probably is way easier to pick up on than, because like even my mom growing up could understand Portuguese when people spoke to her, but she couldn't speak it. And it's like, if you're just around that other language, you're going to...
Right. Well, what I hear is like when you move to another country, you're going to pick it up a lot easier because like say you're in like class, like you can say it and then like you only have to use it for that hour. Your brain doesn't interpret that as something that's necessary.
Yeah.
But then when you go to another country and like you can't eat unless you figure out how to convince them what you're trying to say, like you will remember what those words were. How important. And so you solidify things. So like when you're immersed in that culture and that's the only thing, like your brain will pick it up like glue. That's like I guess my babies pick it up easy.
Yeah, exactly. They're around it all the time.
Right. They got. I mean, what else choice do they have? They're crying. They're like, this can't work.
Yeah, it's also crazy how like baby horses can like get up and walk. You know what I mean? But like our babies are pretty. Our human babies are pretty. Like they can't really do anything for the first like 5 years of life. You know what I mean? Or you have to watch them. Versus like sea turtles are like, oh yeah, just run to the ocean and try to survive for.
Right. I'm trying to remember. I think it's something to do with our brain development, and we have to come out earlier in our like muscle mature process.
Oh, I probably like. Well, they probably like we come out earlier than our brains develop, like you're saying, or just our whole body though.
Right.
Where it's like crazy, where other animals will be born and walking around, and it's just like imagine like a human being born and walking around,
stepping out like, hey dad.
Like talking already. Like that'd be wild. But I'm sure animals learn to communicate too.
Right. I mean. Yeah, they do. I probably pretty early too.
Yeah, probably. I mean, earlier than us because we have like full-fledged. Like, multiple.
I think mice have sound recognition. Like they can tell people's voices apart.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if dogs can.
No, for sure. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, dogs for sure know people.
I have to believe dogs can. I mean, like.
Isn't it weird? Like dogs just evolved next to us. They were just like. Wait, you gonna give me food if I hang out here and just bark at people?
I know. Hey,
I'll just chill around here all the time.
I'm super glad to have. I saw this TikTok and it was like this. It was like dogs are like, this person feeds me, this person waters me and pets me and walks me. He must be God. And the cats are like, this person waters me, feeds me, pets me, walks me.
I must be God.
Like, I was like, oh yeah,
That is hella true. Cats are
true.
every now and then you get a good cat. I feel like
Cats
but,
people are like dislike.
Yeah, well, cats. I mean, you can't deny the dog love is like more real than the cat love. Cats will just come up
true.
and cats may like one person in your household, but they're
true.
gonna be an
It's
asshole to
true.
other people.
True.
They're gonna like. I remember my
True.
friend was telling me this guy named Jared I used to hang out with, but his cat used to hella like him, but didn't like his girlfriend, and would like literally run, shank the girl like in the throat, and then keep running. And I'm just like, a dog wouldn't do that. A dog just doesn't have that
Right.
thought to be like, hold up real quick, let me go bite this person.
Right. Well,
I mean they do
Right,
bite
right,
people. I'm
right.
not saying they don't, but
I know, but there is that thing with dogs that they're like they just think differently, and like it is true. Like they kind of developed like alongside like
yeah, for a long time.
whatever.
And it's weird because obviously they are wolves. They're a descendant from wolf. But it's like they were like, they're like the lazy wolves. They're like,
Right.
like I'm just gonna, like
This is a lot
you're gonna go still
easier.
hunt for your food. I'm just gonna go chill over here with these things that are giving me food.
Right? Have you ever seen like 10,000 the movie like 10,000 BC or like anything?
Oh
like
yeah,
that?
I've seen like those movies. Yeah,
where they're like training dogs.
Yeah,
and
like,
they,
it's like the
feed
first
them or
of
whatever.
dogs,
Yeah,
pretty much,
I think
yeah.
that's what's the
Yeah,
movie or
yeah.
whatever. That would be super cool. I mean, it would not be super cool.
yeah. I know what you mean though. Like it'd be cool to like go back in a time machine
I
and see
know.
that stuff, but.
We're so lucky.
We're so coddled by like society. Like imagine
Look
if you had
at
a
us.
pandemic.
Look at us spending
Yeah,
time
talking
to
into
each other.
microphones,
This
like
is-
recording a conversation because people want to listen, or you know what I mean? Like it's just
Right.
like compared to 50 years ago, like a podcast didn't exist. Or imagine the pandemic 50 years ago. You know what I mean? Like we thought we
No,
were
right.
like had like issues then,
Right.
but look
no.
at
Yeah, I mean, the in 1918, like you had the influenza virus, and then kids didn't have Zoom then. It
yeah.
was just
I was gonna say, imagine that. Imagine like back then, like we are at least like at the first time in society that we could possibly be prepared to teach online.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and they're kind of, I mean, they're also kind of related because like the movement of people is also kind of what helped the virus. or
Yeah.
whatever. But you're right. Like we were able to like provide, like we think we're in such a bad place, but relatively, I mean, at least we're able to provide them education,
Or even attempt it. You know what I mean?
Right,
Compared
right.
to
Compared to,
like,
right.
yeah, exactly. Not having school for 6 months and then
even our worst days are pretty good, in
Yeah,
comparison
exactly.
to literally the rest of humanity.
yeah. Like our worst day or your worst problem is like, and that's where I think mental health actually rises is with this shift in things of our life being so comfortable that our minds are making problems out of things that like
We need struggle and
Yeah.
like, challenge and like
everybody does. And that's how you
Right.
grow. That's how you come out on the other side. But I feel like for so long we haven't, or not so long, but just recently the change, like you're saying, like from when I went to high school to from you going to high
Shit.
school, which is 6 years, it's like you completely were using computers and everything.
Right.
And that it's just like, and now we're getting to this day and age where, kids at the age of, kindergarten, first, second, third grade are being taught to use, this technology. And
Right.
it's going to be good
here's
because
your iPad.
yeah, exactly. But it's not all bad. But I'm guessing kids don't use cursive anymore, right? Were you taught cursive?
I mean, I was taught cursive.
Yeah.
I imagine selling in school, but like
You gotta
don't
sign your name.
Use it. You gotta learn it, but then like you don't use it in the world. Like
Yeah. I lost the ability to do cursive besides my name.
No, I just had to sign like 1,000 8th grade diplomas, and so
Oh,
I
really?
got really good at my signature.
yeah. You started
quite
looking
recently.
official, huh?
Yeah, no, I did. I figured out like a little like curve to my E. That's pretty new.
It's like your J a little bit bigger,
My
Jesse.
J, I do. I got it like
A
like,
big
perfect.
J.
I got
I mean,
it,
the
like,
two
big
S's.
loops.
Your name
unconnected.
looks good, Jesse. Though you know what I mean, because I have Diele as my last name, so it's IELE, but it's just loops. All it is loops.
I mean, that's all Jesse is like.
No, that's what I'm saying. Jesse is too. You know, that's what I'm saying. Jesse is like dude, just a whole bunch of loops, pretty much.
Right.
And then a big E, and then I just scribble my
You know
name.
what I did?
I go
Yeah.
M H D scribble.
Oh,
like
I
that's
mean,
what I
yeah,
do.
you know what I did is like I was like 1,000 diplomas. That's a lot. I wrote Jesse E, and then I wrote a long, long
like-
line. So it was just Jesse E. I was like, man, I mean,
Hey, that'll work.
it's good. If you look at the other signatures on it, it was just like you could read my signature.
Yeah. The kids are gonna be like, "Hey, my signature looks different than yours." Hey, that's props to you for
Yeah.
doing.
Good job.
Do a lot
yeah.
of people do do people have to always sign if there's like 1,000 of them? I thought sometimes they
No,
print
I
it.
mean they gave us an option if we wanted to sign it or have it electronically signed, and we were like, we'll sign it, we'll do it.
I guess I've Takes up a few hours, huh?
Yeah, it does. But you know what? I mean, we figured it does a little bit of a difference, and like we're not we do quite a lot of like just different like community events or whatever, like whatever we can do to, because we do think like public image and like making sure that like kids are happy and excited, like that's primary. Like school is not just the learning, it's also the excited to be learned. It's also
Exactly.
extra stuff on that.
And that's why I felt so bad for the students this year is like at least like growing up, we had a senior week or we had like these activities to go to, where it's like this year they couldn't go to, I mean, maybe they could go to football games, but they only had like a couple football games. You know what I mean? They don't have like these events to go to. And it's just like
pandemic.
Yeah, during the pandemic, that's what I'm saying. And like when we were in high school, we were just very fortunate. We didn't think about it. We're just like, this is lame. You know what I mean? Just that's what high school students think, you know?
Right.
Everything's lame. Even like junior hires, you know what I mean? It's just like, you try to put on this persona that, I don't know, that like you're not pleased with the world. I'm like, hey, the world's freaking sick, kids. Like, come out and learn about everything. And let's do music, art. It doesn't matter what you want to do.
Right.
Science, math. Like, there's everything you can learn. And now it's at your fingers. Like,
so we need, not to we need to do that in our schools better. We need to provide those options and make sure that, you know, like kids have access to, I mean, they do have music and they do have art, but you know, like,
yeah, but like I was saying before the podcast, it's kind of like let's say somebody is really into art, is really into music, is really into some form of art, film, theater. There are things to do, but there's not really a place for community when it's like around like art in the sense of like teaching young kids art. And I think
like you can do it on your own.
You can do it on your own, but like if there's
and then practice.
Yeah, but if there's somewhere to go, you know what I mean? And if you're really into music as a kid, it's going to be if you're around things that can help you get better and better, like it's just only going to help the kids grow and grow. And it's like the resources, obviously, like you're saying earlier, like there's a limited amount of resources, but like if you give kids the resources at a younger age.
But yeah, I mean, you know, one thing is I'm big on is like we have the resources in our community. We need to get better at using those resources. Because I mean, like here's like, you know, the thing is like you have systems of resources, and it's like we're not spending that much lower on our students on average than state. We are suffering economically, but I can't contribute that to everything. I think part of it is how we're using the money and if it's economically, because like you have some output measures and then you have outcome measures, and you're doing things that may produce like output or doing things and whatever, but does it change the outcome of the situation? You know, like I'll just say for an example, I kind of talk about it with my Leos in the Leo program. It's like, when I say what ideas do you guys want to do? What do you want to do to fix our state? They're like, you know what? Let's go volunteer at the food bank. And you know what? That is an honorable thing, and it's a necessary thing to get done. But wouldn't their time be better spent like saying, hey, let's find a way to economically empower people so they don't have to go to the food bank.
Yeah.
You know, you're just applying the pressure. You're just a Band-Aid to the problem as opposed to solving the root cause of the problem. So like you could then go and apply for a grant and say, you know, we spent 100 hours at the food bank, which is like super good. But like,
what if you spend 100 hours trying to figure out how can we bring empowerment to the people who are going to the food bank?
Right. There's a quote by like Benjamin Franklin. It's like an ounce of cure or an ounce of prevention is worth like a pound of cure.
Yeah.
You know, like we could cure the problem. We could, you know, try to cure it all day and just keep the symptoms away, or we could try to solve the problem. Yeah. Which is why like education is like super key, like making sure that kids have that, you know. And one thing in education we did is we're adding more financial education in it, because, you know, if we're trying to set up kids for success, one thing that they have to do is they have to learn how to use money and money properly. And that's something that the education system sometimes leaves out. And what is capital? What is, how do I invest? How much debt is good debt? What is good debt? How is debt good? I don't think debt is good, but like, it can be good. And Donald Trump's over here telling me that's how he made his millions, by debt is good, you know?
Yeah.
So what does that mean? What kind of access am I not privy to? You know, we literally live in a capitalist society.
Yeah.
No one teaches you how to be a capitalist.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Nowhere. Because
like if you crack the code, you're lucky.
Because not everyone can crack the code, you know. But I'm for Merced. All the Mercedians can crack the code.
Yeah.
You know? So,
yeah. No. Exactly.
So I mean, you know, I'm just trying to improve it and make sure that, like, you know, the roots or whatever.
Yeah. No, and that, like you're saying, the roots are education, pretty much.
Right.
Like that is the key to to helping grow a good city, to help grow a city where people want to grow in. Because if you're not educating the people,
that
then
is our city.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't care if we have businesses if it's not our city who's necessarily running, because then we just brought in people and it looks like we had success. But I think success is raising our citizen base.
Yeah, and success is measured in all these ways. But when you look at it as a city, it's more of like a qualitative metric. You know what I mean? Like, what's the quality of life for everybody within the city?
Right.
It's not like you could say, oh, we have the most businesses opening up, all these things are happening, but if you don't have people who are backing it, who want to back it, who are supportive of backing it, then what's really going on?
You had a new business open up because you had a UC, but did you have to hire all new people for that because no one in your town is prepared for it? You know, I think there is a difference. You know, both are good, because then that company is gonna provide economic benefits inclusive to the society and stuff. And so it is good, but like it's better if it's your people who's prepared to take over.
Yeah,
it's growing with it.
At least growing with it. Yeah,
right.
You don't have to be the ones running it. It's obviously good if someone else comes in and
right.
But it's like you want to have people who are from the city.
Yeah, wherever we can get investment, we'll take it. But one thing I did think is like, okay, say we have 10,000 students or 11,000 in Merced City School District. Say we start implementing financial education, and 1% of that takes that to actually utilize it to like build a business or something. That's like 100 kids that built 100 new industries or businesses.
Probably more than that, right?
In Merced, right? And that's if 1% does it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you figure like that's a huge thing. And if you teach them, not only they set up more for success, whether you make a lot of money or a little money or many money, knowing how to use that money is super key to being successful. You know, even if you're a doctor, but you don't know how to you don't know how to use your money, it's not going to go as far as it could. And so, I mean, you know, it's inclusive it's beneficial to them and to the city as a whole to make sure that they're set up.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, yeah. I feel like, I mean, I'm glad that there's someone like young in Merced who's involved with this, because it's like one of those situations where it's like a lot of people look at it and you're like, oh, I could do it, or I could do something, you know what I mean? I could do something to help out, but like, oh, I don't really want to. But like, you've taken action even since like, basically since you came from education at like 19, 20, 21, you started volunteering, you know what I mean? And that in turn led you to this position of being a trustee. And it's just like, I mean, I don't know. I'm really happy to see that, because I don't think a lot of people your age are necessarily as driven to do something like that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, there are like a lot of people with good ideas, and there are like, and they are so helpful to me in my position, because I talk to so many like community members, so many like parents and staff and teachers and just principals and even like our district team, and I get so much information from other people, and so like it's all like our collective information that puts together. And then like the really hard part is like what I've learned since getting elected is like getting stuff across the finish line and making stuff happen in the best way, and not in a flimsy way, but in a sustainable way, ways to make sure that it's like, all right, so you got all this information about what's right to do, and now make sure get it across the finish line. And I feel like that's probably been like my main focus, is like just learning how to make things happen and make sure that like they happen in a sustainable way to like continue on or whatever. But there are a lot of, there's a lot of push and a lot of people like trying in different avenues to like improve.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And
like you, like, I mean, like,
yeah, exactly.
Podcast,
even me, like, yeah,
this podcast is improving the
yeah. I'm just trying to show people like, hey, like we're cool individually. 209 in general, like, yeah, because I always talk about Merced, but 209 in general, like, we're overlooked in everything, but we have everything that the major cities have. So like with the rappers and like artists that come on my podcast, I'm like, why isn't there a Central Valley movement? You know, there's a Bay Area movement, there's an LA movement.
Right. Yeah, that's
like
question,
why aren't we listening to our artists? You know what I mean? Why aren't we supporting them? And that's like basically where, I mean, I'm not a rapper or anything, but I want to help put on shows to put them on the map, show them like, hey, like if we support them, if I show people these people, like it's like gonna help them, it's gonna help the community, we're gonna be more community driven. If you see that person somewhere, you're gonna want to go. And that's why it's just like, I want to show people that there's stuff to do in Merced. Right. There's stuff to do. Like, stop saying there's nothing to do.
Right.
Like I think there is.
I think a lot of it is like communication, and like we need to we work together more and do things like you working with other artists and doing things, or like talking to me, like that gets word out. And like,
and I guess I'm starting to do that, with other people. You're starting to do that with the UC, you know what I mean? And it's only a matter of time before,
Right.
like,
You need
like,
more
and I think
connections.
integration, it takes time. Everything takes
it does
time.
take time.
And like, that's the thing, that it's like, you want to do all these things, but like, you have to do what's feasible. You have to do what, like you're saying, like you have all these options and opinions of people, and you want to figure out how to
You gotta
make the
balance
best ways
these interests.
possible. And you don't want to do a flimsy way. You don't want to do, like, I don't want to put on a show and it to be like a crappy show and people not enjoy it, because that just blew the whole point of even doing it. You know what I mean? I'd rather have it take 6 months to prepare for than do it in 2 months and it not be, something that people enjoy.
Right.
But Jesse, I think this is as good a time as any to end this thing. I appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me.
Of course, man. Jesse Espinosa, thank you for being here.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty.
This is it. Real talk and whatnot.